Are you a very important person and interested in taking Disney's private VIP tour?
Well, I did take a VIP tour, and I have some thoughts, and I'm spilling the tea of everything that you need to know about Disney's VIP tours. This year, I was able to participate in a Disney private VIP tour. Goofy Getaways, the travel agency that you guys know I love, they were actually the ones who invited me on this tour to let me be able to experience what a VIP tour is like. So yes, do know that I didn't necessarily pay for this myself, but I have taken into consideration like what VIP tours cost and whether or not I would actually spend my own money doing this when I'm giving you guys my opinion and review of this experience. So what exactly is a Disney private VIP tour? This is a luxury experience where you have a private tour guide who is essentially doing all of the work for you and taking you around the parks so that you can have a luxury day doing the parks how you want, when you want, and not have to wait in line. I do want to clarify that there are several types of luxury type tours here at Disney, and sometimes it can get a little confusing as to like what is a VIP tour and what is not a VIP tour. We did something called the Keys to the Kingdom tour, which is essentially a backstage tour of the Magic Kingdom where you get to learn a little bit more about the history and some of the inner workings of how the parks work. That is not a VIP tour. If you do want to learn a little bit more, I do have a whole video where me and Mark Allen talk about what all is included in that experience, but just know that if you're looking at Keys to the Kingdom or a VIP tour, they're two very, very, very different things. One being the price difference is incredibly different. I think the Keys to the Kingdom is like around $100 a person, whereas the VIP tour is much, much more expensive. So like I said, if you want to learn more about Keys to the Kingdom, click on the link in the description. In this video, we're talking private VIP tours. Now, a private VIP tour, the way that this works is you have your tour guide, your VIP tour guide. They are essentially your guide to Disney World. They know everything. They are going to be able to take you around. They're going to let you know some fun things as you go throughout your day. They're going to help you plan your itinerary. They're going to be able to recommend kind of what rides are going to be best to do next. They're also going to be your private transportation if you are going from park to park. That is really the true value of a VIP tour, is having that guide who's essentially a Disney expert so that you don't have to do a ton of like research and work ahead of time. You can rely on them to help you have the perfect day. Let's talk about what all is included in your VIP tour. So this is going to be a minimum of 7 hours or up to 10 hours of your park day. You can park hop with this. Just know that you do have to have your park hopper and theme park admission. That part is not included in your tour, so make sure that you do have your park tickets, but you can hop to any of the parks that you want if you do have that park hopper. You can ride as many rides in that time as you wish, as many times as you want to. So if there is a certain ride that you want to ride 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you absolutely can. So let's say that you want to ride Guardians of the Galaxy 5 times in a row. If that's what you would like to do, you absolutely can. And you don't have to worry about virtual queues, and you don't have to worry about purchasing single pass, because all of this is included with your tour. You do also have access to pre-arrival planning. So when you book your VIP tour, you will be in touch with the VIP tour cast members so that you can kind of give them a little bit of a heads up of where you would like to start your day. If you're wanting to park hop, if you want to stay in one park all day, you will be touching base with your tour guide day of to make sure that they know like your goals and priorities for the day. But it is nice that you kind of have that little bit of help with the pre-planning. So let's say maybe there's a dining reservation that you're hoping to get. They can kind of assist you in getting some of those things lined up. Something else that I didn't realize was included with your tour until I was doing some research afterwards is you can start your tour in the park. Like basically you can meet at one of the parks, or you can even have them pick you up from your Walt Disney World hotel if you are staying on property. Now, I personally think I would encourage you to start in the park. That way you can really be using up your time as wisely as possible. That way it's not being eaten up by that drive to the park first thing in the morning. But it is nice to know that if you are wanting to forego the Disney transportation, you do have that option for them to come and pick you up. You will probably have to make sure that you plan that ahead of time, just like you would if you were planning to be in the park, so that your tour guide knows exactly where they need to meet you. Like I said, this tour can be anywhere from minimum of 7 hours to up to 10 hours, which means you have a flexible start time. So if you're someone who likes to get here right at the crack of dawn as soon as the park opens, you can absolutely do that. Or if you're someone who maybe would prefer to sleep in a little bit, you can start your tour time later. I will say that you will typically have a set duration when you book your tour, but if you happen to want to add an hour or so, you do have the ability to do that day of, since your tour guide is dedicated to you for the day. However, I would say try to have a good idea of how much time you would like to do ahead of time, just because this lets your tour guide have a little bit better ability to be able to plan your day more efficiently. Along with being able to skip the lines for pretty much any attraction that you want, you do also get special viewing for certain things like fireworks and parade. If you're doing the parade in Magic Kingdom, you would get to watch from up on the train station, which is really cool. And then for fireworks viewing, if you're watching Happily Ever After in Magic Kingdom, you're going to be in kind of one of the hub grass areas. They'll have that roped off specifically for you. If you are in Epcot, you'll usually be in the Germany Pavilion. There's like a roped off section with picnic tables. Typically, that is where they will have you for that. And probably most importantly, you can have up to 10 guests in your party. So you don't have to have 10 guests, but I would definitely say that if you can have 10 people in your party, you're going to be getting a little bit more of your money's worth. I know I'm going to say this like a million times, but truly the biggest part of this tour is that VIP tour guide. Their knowledge is going to be super helpful to you. I would think of it like this. If you are just a normal day guest, you're doing a lot of the planning. You're planning out your day. You're planning out when you want to do rides, when the best time to do rides. Do you want to do Lightning Lane? Do you want to do all these things? When do you want to eat? You're having to plan all of this yourself. And your VIP tour guide, when you book one of these, is going to do all of that for you. They are Disney park experts, so they're going to know that certain rides are better to do in the morning, others might be better to do in the afternoon, which park order you might be able to do. Now, granted, you have total control and flexibility over what you do, so if you want to do something at a certain time, you can, but they're going to be able to kind of help you plan your day most efficiently so that you can get the most out of your time, because you are spending a lot of money on these tours. And snacks. So let's talk a little bit about food and your VIP tour. So during your VIP tour, you do get one snack per person. This is typically going to be mainly things like popcorn or a Mickey pretzel, those kind of typical Disney snacks. However, when we were on our tour, I was like, ooh, I really want a lefse from Kringle Bakery, since that's still considered a snack credit and is kind of around that same price. That was able to be my one snack of the day. Each guest in your party does get one snack. Your meals are not included. You can go ahead and do like a quick service meal during your tour if you need to grab a bite to eat. If you don't want to waste the time, you can always just do your snacks and keep moving on. And hydration. Hydration is super important, and Disney doesn't want you passing out on your VIP tour. We did get unlimited water bottles. If you want Dasani, you can, or we actually got smart waters several times that we went. I even got one of the special like smart waters that they have in Galaxy's Edge, which was kind of a fun souvenir, because that's not ever something I would ever like pay for on my own. So that was kind of fun. You do also get unlimited non-alcoholic bottled beverages. So like if you want a Powerade, or you want a bottle of Coke, or a bottle of Sprite or whatever, you can get those bottled beverages unlimited throughout the day. And if you want to know more about Disney snacks, I did a Disney snack ranking video that's linked in the description box below. Now again, like I said, your meals themselves are not included in your VIP tour. If you want to do a meal during your VIP tour, that's fine. You are going to be paying for that out of pocket. However, I recommend not doing a sit-down meal during your VIP tour. Again, because it's not included, you're kind of wasting your money and wasting time. So I would plan any actual sit-down meals to be either before or after your VIP tour is over. Now, although you only get one like official Disney snack per person, you do get more snacks throughout the day. If you are park hopping, you'll usually be greeted by like this basket that a VIP tour guide will have that has like chips and granola bars and cookies and crackers and things like that. So you're totally welcome to grab whatever of that you want that you can munch on while you walk onto your next ride. So don't worry, you're not like totally going to be starving throughout the day. You can't like just have the one snack, but they will have those. I don't know exactly how that works, like if you end up not park hopping, but I do know that from when you go from place to place, they pretty much always have this basket full of snacks. It was kind of a fun little surprise. All right, now the part that I know everybody wants to know is how much does a VIP tour actually cost? As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, when I experienced a VIP tour, I was invited, so I myself did not pay for that specific tour, so I don't know exactly how much that one was. but generally prices are going to range anywhere from $450 to $900 an hour. So really it's just going to depend on the time of year that you go, what the crowds are like, and how many hours you do will depend on what the pricing is. So you can kind of do the math. The easiest way to know how much it's going to cost is to call and talk to a cast member for your specific dates. These can be booked 60 days out from your trip, just kind of like everything else, like dining and other tours. But I would give them a call. They're going to be able to give you more accurate pricing. But just know if you're going like during a peak time like Christmas, you're probably going to be closer to that 900 range. If you're going like in the middle of September when it's not super busy, you're probably going to be closer to that $450 per hour range. And remember, you do have to do a minimum of 7 hours. So I'll let you do the math on what that is, but you do have to do a minimum of 7 hours, but it can be up to 10 hours. It is also really encouraged to tip your tour guide. Typically, you're going to want to tip around 20% of whatever your tour cost was, but obviously you can use your own discretion on if you would like to do more than that. Most of those cast members will probably have something like Venmo, but I would encourage you to maybe go ahead and have that ready to go in cash if you can, just so that it makes things a little bit easier. So now that you kind of know like what is included, what this is all about, let me kind of walk you through our day of when we did the VIP tour. Our goal was to hit up all of the heavy hitter, like super popular attractions across all 4 parks. So we started in Magic Kingdom. We met our tour guide right out front of Mickey's Town Square Theater, and that was where we kind of gave her a little bit of a rundown of our day of kind of like all the rides that we wanted to make sure we hit, so that we could kind of decide what parks in what order we wanted to do. Magic Kingdom was pretty easy. I think the only ride that we ended up doing was Tron, which was super nice and easy. We got to walk right up to the ride, so we didn't have to mess with the virtual queues or anything like that. I do want to say that when you are doing these attractions, you're pretty much just using the lightning lane. There are very, very few rides that you're doing any sort of like secret entrance to. It's pretty much always going to be the lightning lane. So do keep in mind that there are going to be some times that you will have like a little bit of a wait depending on what the lightning lane ride wait time is. Now your tour guide is going to kind of be monitoring. They kind of do this cool thing where they can chat with other tour guides. So if a tour guide sees that a certain attraction has like a really long lightning lane wait, they're going to put in their little like VIP tour guide chat. It's like, hey, FYI, this ride is looking a little long, so that your tour guide knows, hey, maybe we'll kind of hold off on that ride. We'll go do something else right now and we can come back to it. It is kind of cool that you kind of almost have like eyes all over the park to be able to tell you what is going on. Again, you're not necessarily going to really know any of that. Your tour guide's going to take care of that for you, but it is a nice little perk. Once we were done with Tron, we headed backstage, which was kind of cool, to our private transportation, which was basically like a big passenger van to take us to the next park, which was Animal Kingdom. In Animal Kingdom, we were pretty much just hitting up Flight of Passage over in Pandora, World of Avatar. So that one was super easy. Again, it's kind of cool because you get to park backstage a lot of the times. So you get to go through these secret entrances that nobody gets to see except for cast members. So that was very fun. When we arrived at the park, there was, again, a little VIP tour guide that had a basket of little snacks, so we could grab some snacks. We walked in, we were able to grab a couple waters from the snack cart, and then we were able to go and ride the attraction. Those parks were the ones that we weren't really doing a whole lot in, so after that we headed over to Epcot. We actually parked right behind Guardians of the Galaxy so that we could ride that, and then when we were done with Guardians, we also wanted to do Frozen, so we did walk over to Frozen. We rode Frozen, and then we walked back to the car, and then we actually took the car all the way back and parked behind the America Pavilion so that we could walk over to Remy's from there without like having to go like all the way around and then go all the way back to the car. So that was kind of cool. We got to see a little bit of the backstage area. I got to see like where they house all of the festival booths during the off season. So I did enjoy that little tidbit. I love on these tours when you get to see something that is not typical to a day guest experience. After we finished up in Epcot, we hopped back in the van and headed over to Hollywood Studios, which was our last park for the day. This was also the one that we had the most attractions that we were doing. Pretty much we were hitting up all the big hitters. We did Tower of Terror, we did Mickey and Minnie's, I think we did maybe Rise of the Resistance and a few others. I can't remember exactly everything because this was several months ago, but it was nice that we were able to hit quite a few rides across all 4 parks in that short period of time. Pretty much any ride, any attraction is fair game, so make sure that if there is something that you are wanting to do, to let your tour guide know so that they can make sure to have that in your itinerary. Now, the group I went and I did the VIP tour with, like I said, it was with Goofy Getaways. They had done some VIP tours in the past, so they had used that tour guide several times before. She kind of knew everybody. I was the new one, which was kind of fun. But typically you do get a VIP tour Disney trading pin, which is super cool. We didn't for that tour because, like I said, most everyone in that group had done them before. But typically, if you are doing your VIP tour for the first time, you'll get one of those really cool VIP trading pins. So now you're probably wondering, is a private VIP tour actually worth it? So let's talk about a couple of the pros. I think the biggest pro, again, is having that basically your personal guide to walk you through the park and show you around, especially if you haven't done the parks before. That is definitely the biggest pro and really where the most value comes from these VIP tours. I would also say being able to have the private transportation from park to park is going to be another really big perk of these VIP tours, because if you were doing this yourself, you're going to either have to drive, which means you're going to have to walk all the way to your car, go through security, do all of those things.
Potentially have to pay for a rental car.
Yes, or you're going to have to use Disney transportation, which can sometimes take a long time, which again isn't bad. It's totally doable, but having that private transportation that is directly backstage so that you don't have to walk all the way out of the park is super, super helpful.
I think for me, the biggest perk, even though I didn't partake in the VIP tour, I've never done one, but for me, the biggest perk for me would just not having to be on my phone, booking lightning lanes, worrying about virtual queues, figuring out what the wait time is for certain attractions. You don't have to do any of that. And in fact, the only thing you would really have to be on your phone for is maybe taking pictures where you are allowed to, because like Kayla said earlier, you're in a lot of backstage areas. Mm-hmm. So just listen to your VIP tour guide, because they'll tell you like phones away. Yeah. Be respectful of those situations.
They do a really good job of being, hey, we're going backstage. Time to put your phone away. Don't take any, like, I don't want to see your phones out. So that is definitely good. As someone who is usually the person that is on the phone, booking the lightning lanes and looking at wait times and doing all that, that was very relaxing for me. I did enjoy being able to just kind of go and enjoy the parks and not have to think about where we were going next. So that was definitely a huge perk. Now, a few of the cons, kind of. One of these is a con. The other one's just kind of a personal preference, I guess. The biggest con is the price. It is not cheap. You just did the math. What is it?
Yeah, I just did the math. And for like a group of 10, if you did like the lowest possible price of $450-ish plus park tickets that I averaged like $150 for a park ticket, mm-hmm. You're gonna drop for a group of 10 like $4,600.
Yeah, so
and that doesn't include your food either.
Yeah, so it is definitely expensive. If you're just a single family paying for this, that is a lot. If you have, a group of 10 friends that you're all going in and doing this together, that does help kind of break up that cost. So that is something to think about. Obviously, if you have the money to throw away, then, that may not be a big deal for you. But I know for a lot of people, budget is a huge thing when they're planning their vacation. So it is a very important thing to consider if you are looking at a VIP tour. The other, it's kind of a con, not really a con, it's just kind of more of a personal preference, is a lot of this you can do yourself and save yourself a lot of money. Disney is one of those places you can save time or you can save money. You can't really do both. So you're definitely paying for that luxury of not having to do a lot of planning, of not having to be on your phone. Like those are the things that you are paying for. I'm somebody who booking lightning lanes isn't a big deal. I'll pay the little extra money for Standby Skipper and have Standby Skipper help me with booking lightning lanes if that's what I need to kind of help alleviate some of that. I kind of know how to tour the parks. Like that was something I said after that tour was I was like, it was fun and it was really nice to be able to ride like all the virtual queue rides in a day, because that can kind of be a little bit tricky. And it was kind of cool to be able to go from place to place. But I was like, honestly, like if I really wanted to, I could do all of this in a day myself and not pay all that money. So that is going to be kind of a personal preference on if you're somebody who likes to do a lot of planning and things. I think you would enjoy a VIP tour, but I think you would also kind of be like, I could do this myself. At least that was the way that I felt.
Yeah.
So who would a VIP tour be good for? I think obviously if you have the disposable income and you have the money to spend, then great. I think that this could be a good option for your day to make it a lot easier. I don't know that it's something I would recommend you do every single time, but you know, if you have something celebratory, like a really big birthday, or maybe this is like a wedding, honeymoon type situation,
right.
or like you have something really important that you're celebrating, this could be something really fun to do to have a really unique, one-of-a-kind day.
It can be a good thing to splurge on, or if you're like a famous celebrity, A, thank you for watching our video, but B, you're probably going to be doing a VIP tour.
Yes. I will say most of the time if you see someone famous walking around the parks, they're usually doing a VIP tour. You're going to see the tour guides, they have this like red and blue plaid uniform that they wear, so you'll usually see them walking around. We always joke that when we see the VIP tours, we're like, are they rich or are they famous? Obviously, your regular person can also do VIP tours. It's just a matter of if you have the money. I also think that this could be a really good option if you have a super, super short trip. Maybe this really is the only time that you can go and you don't have a lot of time to spend and you want to get as much done as possible. This could be a good option.
Yeah.
Maybe you only have 2 or 3 days to spend, but you want to see and do as much as you can. This could be something to look into. If you're here for like a week-long or 2-week-long vacation, no, you don't.
You don't need it.
No.
I would say even if you're someone that like just happens to be like, I don't know, flying internationally or something like that, and your layover just so happens to be in Orlando, and you're like, wow, what can I do in Orlando for a day? This could be a great way to maximize your time and get the most done while you're here.
And of course, again, this is going to be great for people who want a completely hands-off experience. I will say it is kind of not great that it's like that isn't something that you can just show up to Disney and do anymore. Maybe one day those days will come back again, but as of right now, there is a lot of planning that goes into a Disney trip, and if that is truly just like the most exhausting thing to you and you're like, absolutely not, but I want to have the best day ever, then a VIP tour could be for you. Now, I will say along with this too is that maybe you don't want to spend the money on a VIP tour, but you do feel like planning is really stressful. This is where booking with a travel agent, especially with my friends at Goofy Getaways, can come in handy. They're going to help you plan your itineraries. They're going to give you all the tips and tricks that are current and updated, because there's a lot of stuff online that is not current and up to date. But they're going to make sure that you feel prepared for your vacation so that you're not having to go out, spend hours and hours on the internet trying to search for all the tips and tricks. You totally can, but they're going to make your life a lot easier.
And just know that they're going to curate the experience that you want, not what the internet thinks that you should do.
Yes.
And that, to me, that personalized experience is why booking with a travel agent is so important.
And most of the time, it doesn't cost you a dime extra to do so. You just have to book your trip, like your vacation, like your hotel and your tickets through your travel agent. So if you want more information about booking with Goofy Getaways, I'll have that linked in the description box below.
We said a little bit, but who is a VIP tour not for? Obviously, if you don't have the money to be paying for this and you're putting this on a credit card, I'm going to call you out. But
you dare.
That's really, really bad.
Don't you dare put a VIP tour on a credit card. It is not worth it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth paying the interest for if you can't just pay out of that just with cash. Trust us. I know there's like a statistic lately that came out that like a third or something of people are going into debt for a Disney vacation. It's not worth it.
No. I would also say too that if you're somebody who is really hands-on and you like to plan every little aspect of your vacation, I don't think that you're going to enjoy a VIP tour as much, because you do kind of have to relinquish that control. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that, again, like for me, like I'm that person. I'm the one who usually takes care of everything. And I felt very like
out of control,
useless.
Yeah.
Because usually I'm the one doing that, and I'm like the one being like, oh, did you know? And blah, blah, and whatever. And so, not to say that you wouldn't enjoy it, but I don't think that you would feel like you got as much out of it just because you may be sitting there being like, I could do this myself.
If you're a spreadsheet nerd, let us know in the comments, because that's us to a T.
Now, there is one thing I do want to talk about that is kind of like a bridge in between a VIP tour and not doing a VIP tour, and that's Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So let's talk a little bit about that. Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So this is Disney's new Lightning Lane offering. This is kind of in between normal Lightning Lane multi-pass and single pass and a VIP tour. This is a luxury offering. I personally will say that I'm not a fan, but you know what? That is besides the point. I do want to tell you a little bit about it so that you can decide if this is something that you would want to spend the money on for your vacation. So Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass, the way that these operate is that you purchase these in advance of your trip and you book what's called a Lightning Lane return time, which is a 1-hour window in which you can use the fast lane for an attraction. Now, the downside with this is that there are attractions that are going to sell out. You're going to be limited on what times you do. And again, you're going to be limited on like what your return time is. That's the time you have to ride the ride. The pro of this is that it is relatively inexpensive. It's pretty attainable. Typically, prices are going to range anywhere from around $18 to around $30 to $35 per person per day, depending on the park and depending on the time of year. Now, again, you have your VIP tour on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, that prices are going to start at around $3,000 for your group for the day, where you get to skip the line of any attraction you want and ride them as many times as you want. But again, this is a very high premium offering, and there's a really big gap in between the two. So Disney's solution to this is Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So this is quite a bit more expensive than Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, but it's not quite as expensive as a VIP tour. The way that this works is that you can book this 7 days in advance of your trip. The big perk with this is that you don't have to book Lightning Lane return times. You can use this for pretty much any attraction one time each. The other catch is that you can only use it for one park per day. So you do have that flexibility of being able to ride what rides you want, when you want, but you do have those limitations that you only have the one park and you can only do each ride one time per day, whereas things like multi-pass and with the VIP tours, you can park hop with those. So this definitely does still have quite a bit of rules, but it is nice that the day of you have a little bit more flexibility and you don't have to do as many things on your phone. Now, pricing for this, like I said, is going to be pretty expensive. Prices are going to start at $129 per person per day and go upwards of $440 per person per day. This does not include your park ticket, so this is on top of your park ticket. Keep in mind that you're mostly going to be probably in that middle area, as the $129 price is usually like a low day on Animal Kingdom, and that $440 price is going to be days like Christmas Day and New Year's Eve for Magic Kingdom. So do know that you're probably going to be closer to that like 300 range most days. Now, again, for somebody like me, I probably will never pay for Premier Pass because I can pay that extra $25 to $45 for Standby Skipper and let them book their my Lightning Lanes for me, and I'm still not having to spend as much time on my phone, and I still kind of get all of that same perks of skipping the line, because with Premier Pass, VIP tours, and Multi-Pass, you're all still using the same Lightning Lane. So it's not like you're going in like another special line or anything like that. So those are kind of some things that you do have to consider if this is something that you're wanting. But again, the nice thing with the Premier Pass is that if you're maybe wanting a little bit of that VIP tour feel without having to pay that huge price, maybe you don't have a party of 10, it's maybe just like 2 of you, but you want that little extra splurge for your day, this could be an option that could be good for you. Is this something that I think is necessary for every Disney vacation, for every day of your trip? Absolutely not. Please don't do that. That is a lot of money to spend. Honestly, you could just spend a little bit of time learning how to use Multi-Pass and get the same effect. Now, that does give you a little bit of an idea of kind of what Premier Pass is, but if you do want to learn more, I have a blog post where I go super in depth about exactly how this system works, so you can learn about that in the description box below. But I did want to make sure that you knew that that was an additional offering if you're deciding, is a VIP tour right? Is Multi-Pass right? Is Premier Pass right for you?
The way that I like to think about Lightning Lane Premier Pass is that it's like Lightning Lane plus, or like a mini VIP tour without your VIP tour guide.
Yes.
That's the best way to explain it and kind of think of it that way.
And truly the product is meant to be a stepping stone between the two, because you have people who are like, multi-pass is too much work, but I still want to skip the lines, but I don't want to pay the money for a VIP tour. Why can't I have something in between? This is Disney's answer for that. I'm really not super pleased with the price because I don't love that you can't park hop, and I don't love that you can only do each ride once, but there are reasons why they have to do it that way, and I get it, but anyways, that's how I feel about that. So is a VIP tour worth it? Honestly, I think it just depends on you and your situation and what you deem to be valuable to you and your family. I will say that I have also done a VIP tour over at Universal, and I felt like for me personally, I got a little bit more value out of that. If you want to learn a little bit more why, you can watch that video. That'll be linked below. But I do still think VIP tours can be a really fun way to celebrate your Disney trip in a super unique way.
Hopefully this cleared up some of your questions that you may have had. And of course, if you do still have questions, leave those in the comments below and we'll do our best to answer those. As well as if you made it to this point in the video, leave us a $sign emoji because...
dollar bills.
Yep. Other than that, that's all we have for you today.
Now go create your ever after.